The loving search for the lost servant is not here. Huh? Prabhupada. If you want a club, yes. Club. Hmm? This chapter now is about the Lord's associates and his devotees. So what is the duty of an acharya? An acharya is the Supreme Lord's messenger. He carries the Lord's message from Vaikuntha and distributes it to us. One must hear that message emanating from his mouth through service-inclined ears. It's important, service-inclined ears, always in the mood of, I am his servant, not no other. If one becomes fully surrendered by the Acharya's mercy, one will achieve perfection. No one other than an inhabitant of Vaikuntha is able to speak about Vaikuntha. So we have to hear about Kolkata from a person who has seen Kolkata. Then only will we get a true message. So this is an important point, actually, we have to understand. We must hear from one who is an inhabitant or who is coming from Vaikuntha, or he has attained Vaikuntha, or Goloka, or wherever in the transcendental world. He can tell you about Vaikuntha because he has seen it. It is also stated in the shloka in Bhagavad Gita, Tatviti Paribhativam Pariprashnayasime Uparikshanyatekinam Yanishtatatashi. He can tell you the truth, dear Master. If we are humble, asking question, if we are serving him, he can reveal to us the truth. Why? Because he has seen it. He knows it. He has realized it. So this is the point nowadays in this world. We have many who are telling you the most intimate pastimes, Gopi Bhava. But they have not even realized the subtle material world, you know. So we should be very careful. If we choose someone, if we really want the Vaikuntha, if we really want to understand, then we have to hear from someone who is coming from there, or has attained it. So this is what Srila Prabhupada says here. If you want to tell something about Moscow, I could not tell you much. But someone who lives there, or someone is coming from there, he can tell you as it is. The same way, someone who wants to tell you about Vaikuntha, but he has not attained this level, he is not able to tell you the reality. Yes. It will not enter we will not understand, we will be just on the outside. The second is the question, since I know nothing other than material experience, how will I understand spiritual subject matter? Srila Prabhupada says, it is true that in our present condition, it is extremely difficult to know anything about transcendence. But it is also true that there are genuine methods to gain such knowledge. The messenger brings news of our friend from the far distant country, and we simply have to hear. So what if a messenger did not bring a message for everyone? Those for whom the messenger did not bring a message are unfortunate. But we should note that those who are eager for a message will certainly be given one. So eagerness must be there also. Our desire must be very sincere. Until we will get some fake Vaikuntha.
After these words, those
who are eager for, those for whom the messenger did not bring a message are unfortunate. But we should note that those who are eager for a message will certainly be given one. So we may hear the message, but we will not fortunate enough to understand it or to accept it. But those who are sincere, who are eager for a message, will certainly be given one. So, how can we recognize a messenger from Vaikuntha? And how can one determine whether the message is real or false? This is an important point. This is nowadays we are unfortunate. Many want a cheap Krishna, a market Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada says on this, if my prayers are genuine, then I will understand everything by the mercy of the omniscient Lord. So my prayers must be coming from the heart, from deep in my heart. Then I will understand everything. And by the mercy of the omniscient Lord, who knows everything, he hears everything. A student can recognize a learned scholar only by the learned scholar's mercy. The Lord in my heart will help me. I need only to depend on Him. This is, first we have to discover that the Lord is in our heart, that He is here. He is always here. I need only to depend on Him. There are two ways to know anything in this world. The first is to try to understand with the help of our material experience. And the second is to receive knowledge through our reception from an exalted personality coming from the kingdom of knowledge. To receive knowledge by this second method, we must be prepared to fully surrender to that exalted personality. This It's so simple, it's always the same message. We think when we read the newspapers and see the news that it is every day is something else. But in reality, they speak always the same. It is like a circle. 50 years ago, they also spoke like this. But it's always repeating the same. So we must also repeat. Otherwise, we will only learn from the newspapers and from the mobile. It's always the same. So who is Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhu? Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhu is an eternal, perfected associate of the Lord. He is Jagat Guru and the emperor of the devotees. In Krishna Lila, he is Rupa Manjari. Sri Rupa Prabhu is also an intimate devotee of Sri Gauranga. He does not belong to the Jiva Tattva, and is not an ordinary living entity. Rather, he is the master of the living entities and part of the Lord's internal energy. He is dear to the daughter of Vrishapanu. So Sri Rupa Prabhu is special amongst the devotees of Lord Gaurasundar. And he is extremely, extremely dear to Sri Gaurasundar himself. Sri Rupa Prabhu understood Sri Gaurachandra's internal mood. No other follower of Gaurasundar acted as an acharya, manifesting the topics of the highest supreme service. Sri Gaurasundar's confidential internal mood is shown only to those who follow Sri Swarup Damodar and Sri Rupa. Therefore, we are all indebted to Sri Rupa. As long as the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya exists, no one will deny Sri Rupa Goswami Prabhu's extraordinary, matchless charity. Neither can anyone repay his debts to Sri Rupa Prabhu. Even those who surrender fully at his feet. He who dwells in the lap, on the chest, and on the head of Sri Krishna is our eternal worshipable Sri Rupa Goswami Prabhu. The dust from his lotus feet is our most cherished item. His lotus feet are our only hope and shelter. How can we attain Krishna's service? Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami tells us to serve Krishna by serving Sri Rupa and Raghunath. Our realization of the Lord's service is determined by how we are cheated on the lotus feet of Sri Rupa Prabhu. Sri Rupa's followers possess all opulence. Sri Rupa is the ideal example of how to cultivate Krishna consciousness. In the ordinary historian's vision, he was a disciple of his elder brother, Sri Sanatana Goswami. But even Sanatana Goswami begged Sri Rupa's mercy. Sri Sanatana Prabhu says that those who do not aspire for Sri Rupa's mercy will never see the beauty of service to Radha, Govinda. So when fruitive workers and impersonalists began to gather strength in their attempts to discredit devotional service, Sri Gaurasundar required a commander-in-chief who could preach the philosophy of devotional service and defeat their arguments. Sri Rupa and Sanatana were his two commanders-in-chief, and all their followers formed the Lord's army Sri Swarup Damodar Prabhu is the leader of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Through him, all armies are recruited for defeating the opponents of Bhakti. So Sri Rupa's army has no weapons other than kirtan. Sri Gaurasundar empowered his commander-in-chief, Sri Rupa Goswami Prabhu, to use his weapon when they were together at Prayag. He taught him how to lead an expedition against those opposed to devotional service, how to protect oneself from bad association. By discussing the battle, we can also learn to fire at the conception of people opposed to Bhakti. We too can learn to destroy sinful mentality, furtive, and other forms of material desire, atheism, godlessness, and any other contrary mood. Some comments on this point? Normally it's already, time is gone. So who is Raghunath Das Goswami? Although Sri Raghunath Das Goswami was a servant of Sri Chaitanya Dev, he was extremely proud to be identified as a follower of Sri Rupa. He served both Swarup Damodar and Sri Rupa, and was especially dear to Sri Swarup Damodar, as well as other dear devotees of Mahaprabhu. Sri Raghunath was the beloved servant of Sri Radha Govinda, whom he served under the guidance of Sri Rupa Manjari. Even though Sri Raghunath proudly considered himself Sri Chaitanya's servant, his pride at being a servant of Swarup Damodar and Sri Rupa was more prominent. No one but Sri Raghunath Das Goswami has revealed so much about the service of Vishwabhanu's daughter. This Vilapa Kusumanjali is one book of him, very, very intimate pastimes told there. So is Chandidas a pure devotee? Is the question. Because Sri Chandidas was a pure devotee, Sri Gaurangadev used to hear his songs. Chandidas considered himself the Lord's servant. A servant of the Lord thinks himself a follower of a devotee who is dear to Krishna. There were no abominable affairs between Chandidas and Rami. Sri Chandidas was an exalted devotee, so it means he was a householder. But there were no activities. He had no abominable affairs between Chandidas and Rami. Sri Chandidas was an exalted devotee. He had no materialist will go. He had no desire for personal happiness. Not understanding his position, the materialists will go to hell because they have committed offense at his lotus feet. The pure devotee Chandidas is completely different from the Chandidas the great materialists have imagined. The materialists are completely unqualified to recognize a transcendental soul like Chandidas. A servant of the Lord who serves in the materiality in his transcendental body is not an ordinary human being, interested simply in material enjoyment. There's a gulf of difference between a mundane female body and the spiritual body of the transcendental kingdom of devotional service. Chandidas taught this philosophy. If those who read Chandidas and Vidyapati engage in Krishna's service, giving up material pride and the desire for proprietorship, then rather than thinking of Krishna as an object of their enjoyment, they will understand that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then they will realize that actual purport of this song written by Chandidas and Vidyapati, and will no longer be misled by mundane conceptions, thinking that Vidyapati was Lakshmi's paramour and Chandidas the paramour of Rami. Such souls are not found nowadays. We heard this about Bhakti Thakur. He was a judge, high court judge. He was married. And he had how many? 13 children. And many devotees amongst, all were devotees, but especially Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He was not ordinary soul. So we have to get the eyes to see who is who. So materialists, they taught Chandidas and Vidyapati. They were materialists. They speaking about mundane love affairs. But they were, Mahaprabhu said, they were far beyond this material conception of what we think what is love. This is material world. Love means bodily conception. They cannot imagine what is real love. Selfless. So all these things are hidden to materialists. They have no idea. It is sad to see they are rotting here in this world and running for things they never can attain, they never can reach it. And life after life, they do the same thing. Running for enjoyment, running for their self-satisfaction. Nobody wants to please Krishna. Nobody is interested. We want that he pleases us. First, we have to please him. When he is satisfied, then you will be satisfied, because we are part of him. And Rupa and Raghunath and Srimad and the Goswamis, they were eternal associates. They were never conditioned souls. Even they worked in the government service. Rupa and Sanatan, they had high position in the Muslim, under Muslim leader. But at home, he studied with the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, the Shastra, Bhagavatam, and all Vedic literatures, so they were always pure devotee, but externally we should not judge. We have to be very careful. Externally we cannot see. We have not the eyes. But our Gurudev or our Acharyas, they can see. They know, as we heard, they are just like instruments in the Lord's, under the Lord's guidance. And the guidance of the Guru. Guru means like this. There's no difference. Even his Vedavyas, or the Vyasadev, he was an incarnation of Supreme Lord. But then there was this saying that Lord Shiva understands the Bhagavatam, or the Vedas. And Narad Muni, I think, he understands. Shukadev Goswami. Shukadev, who spoke the Srimad Bhagavatam, he understands. But it is not sure that Vyasadev, who was an incarnation, he has understood fully. So all these things is for us, for our minds, not easily to digest. But this is Lord's pastime. So, any question or anything to say? It is getting late. No lamps to turn off here now anymore. Nice. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Sri Gurudev ki jai. Jai Gaura Pramanandi. Pagani Pura Vaishnava Pura Namo Namaha.